The sound of glass shattering was followed by a horrified gasp that echoed across the sprawling estate grounds. Tyler Matthews stood frozen in place, his 12-year-old daughter Lily beside him, both staring at the antique window of the groundskeeper's cottage that now featured a baseball-sized hole with cracks spiderwebbing outward. "Dad, I'm so sorry," Lily whispered, clutching her baseball glove tighter as tears welled in her eyes. Tyler ran a hand through his short brown hair, his stomach sinking. He didn't have money for this. As a single father working 2 jobs to keep their modest apartment and put food on the table, an unexpected expense like this could derail their entire month's budget. "It's okay, sweetheart," he reassured her, though his mind was already calculating how many extra shifts he'd need to pick up. "Accidents happen. We'll fix it." They'd only come to this secluded part of Oak Ridge Park for some batting practice. The sprawling estate that bordered the public park was rumored to belong to some reclusive billionaire, but the groundskeeper's cottage was the only structure visible from their side of the property line. Tyler had thought they were far enough away from any buildings, but Lily's improving swing had proven him wrong. "Should we just go?" Lily asked, voice small and worried. Tyler shook his head firmly. "No, honey, we own up to our mistakes." He approached the cottage cautiously, noting that despite its well-maintained exterior, it appeared unoccupied. No lights, no movement. He knocked on the door anyway, just to be certain. When no one answered, Tyler made a decision. He'd been working in construction before the company downsized 6 months ago. He still had his tools in the trunk of his beaten-up sedan, the tools he now used for the handyman gigs he picked up between shifts at the diner. "Come on," he told Lily. "Let's go get my toolbox. I'm going to fix this window before anyone notices." "But Dad, isn't that trespassing?" "We're not going inside. We're just repairing damage we caused," Tyler explained, leading her back to their car. "It's the right thing to do." An hour later, Tyler had carefully removed the broken pane, measured the dimensions, and driven to the hardware store to purchase replacement glass. The expense made him wince. There went this week's coffee budget, but the alternative of leaving the damage or waiting to be caught felt worse. As Tyler carefully installed the new pane, Lily held his toolbox and passed him what he needed, her expression serious with responsibility. "You're getting good at this, Lily Bug," Tyler said, smiling at his daughter. "Maybe you'll be a contractor someday." "I want to be a veterinarian," she corrected him, not for the first time. "But I like helping you." Tyler was applying the final touches of putty when a sleek black Audi pulled up beside their weathered Honda. His heart sank as a woman stepped out of the luxury vehicle. She was striking tall, with honey blonde hair pulled back in a professional bun, wearing what looked like a tailored pantsuit that probably cost more than his monthly rent. "Excuse me," she called out, approaching with confident strides. "What do you think you're doing?" Tyler straightened up, wiping his hands nervously on his jeans. "Madam, I can explain. My daughter accidentally hit a baseball through this window. We're just fixing the damage." The woman stopped a few feet away, her eyebrows rising as she assessed the nearly completed repair job. She glanced at Lily, who was half hiding behind Tyler, then back to Tyler himself. "You broke a window, and instead of running, you're replacing it." Her tone held disbelief, but something else too: curiosity. "Yes, madam, I wouldn't feel right leaving it broken." The woman tilted her head slightly. "Do you know whose property this is?" Tyler swallowed. "I understand it's private property. We were practicing in the public park section, but Lily's got a stronger arm than I realized." He rested a reassuring hand on his daughter's shoulder. "I'm prepared to pay for any additional damages or trespassing fines." To his surprise, the woman's stern expression softened into an amused smile. "I'm Tessa Thornton. This property belongs to me." Tyler felt his mouth go dry. Tessa Thornton of Thornton Industries. The tech mogul who'd revolutionized renewable energy storage systems and made billions in the process. Her face occasionally appeared in business magazines he flipped through during his lunch breaks. "I'm so sorry, Miss Thornton." "I had no idea," clearly, she interrupted, but there was no anger in her voice. "Most people who break into Billionaire's property don't stop to make repairs." She approached the window, running her fingers lightly over his work. "You've done a professional job." I used to work construction, Tyler explained, feeling increasingly out of place. I'm Tyler Matthews. This is my daughter, Lily. Lily gave a small wave, still partially hiding behind him. Tessa crouched slightly to meet Lily at eye level. That must have been quite a hit to break this window. Do you play baseball, softball? Lily corrected, gaining confidence. I'm trying out for the school team next month. Well, you've got power, that's for sure. Tessa straightened up. Are you finishing up here, Mr. Matthews? Yes, just need to clean up, Tyler said, gesturing to the small pile of glass fragments he'd carefully collected. When you're done, would you mind coming up to the main house? I have another matter I'd like to discuss. Her tone made it clear this wasn't really a request. Tyler nodded, heart pounding. Was she going to call the police after all? Of course. Tessa gave them directions to follow the gravel path around to the main entrance, then returned to her car and drove ahead. As soon as she was out of earshot, Lily tugged at Tyler's sleeve. Are we in trouble, Dad? Tyler forced a reassuring smile. I don't think so, honey. We did the right thing by fixing the window. Let's just see what she wants to talk about. They followed the winding path through immaculately landscaped grounds until the main house came into view. Tyler nearly stopped walking at the sight. It wasn't a house, it was a mansion, an elegant stone structure that looked like it belonged in a historical documentary rather than the outskirts of their modest Midwestern town. A housekeeper met them at the door, politely asking them to wait in what she called the small sitting room, which was larger than Tyler's entire apartment. Lily sat close to him on an antique sofa that probably cost more than his car, her eyes wide as she took in the crystal chandelier and original artwork adorning the walls. Tessa entered a few minutes later, having changed from her business attire into more casual though still clearly expensive slacks and a blouse. Thank you for coming up, she said. Can I offer you anything? Water, tea, something stronger for you, Mr. Matthews. Water would be fine, thank you, Tyler replied, his throat suddenly parched after the housekeeper brought their drinks. Tessa sat across from them. I'll get straight to the point. The property manager who usually oversees the estate recently quit rather suddenly. I've been looking for someone with construction experience who's trustworthy enough to care for the buildings and grounds. She fixed Tyler with a direct gaze. Your actions today suggest you might be that person. Tyler blinked in surprise. You're offering me a job, I'm considering it. The position includes a competitive salary and housing the cottage you were repairing, actually. It needs someone living there full-time. Tyler's mind raced. A stable job with housing included would solve so many of their problems. No more juggling multiple jobs, no more worrying about rent increases pushing them out of their neighborhood. I don't understand, he said finally. You don't know anything about me. Tessa smiled. I know you taught your daughter to take responsibility for her actions. I know you have construction skills and attention to detail, and I know that when faced with a problem, you fixed it instead of walking away. She set her glass down. But you're right, I should know more. Tell me about yourself, Tyler Matthews. Over the next hour, Tyler found himself sharing more than he'd intended about losing his wife to cancer 4 years ago, about the construction company downsizing, about his struggle to provide stability for Lily while working multiple jobs. Tessa listened attentively, asking thoughtful questions and showing genuine interest in Lily's schooling and softball ambitions. I'll need to check your references, of course, Tessa said finally. But if everything checks out, the job is yours if you want it. Take a few days to think about it. I don't need to think about it, Tyler said immediately. If you're serious, I'd be grateful for the opportunity. Tessa looked pleased. Excellent. Let's plan for you to start next week. The cottage will need some updating before you move in, but we can discuss those details later. As they were leaving, Lily turned back to Tessa. Does the cottage have a yard? For practicing? Tessa laughed. Yes, but perhaps we should set up a proper batting cage at a safe distance from all windows. The following week was a whirlwind of activity. Tyler gave notice at both his jobs, packed up their small apartment, and met with Tessa several times to discuss the specifics of his new position. The salary she offered was generous enough to make him question if she'd made a mistake, but he didn't dare point it out. Moving day arrived, and Tyler couldn't believe their change in fortune as he unlocked the door to the cottage. What had appeared modest from the outside revealed itself to be a charming two-bedroom home with updated appliances, freshly painted walls, and new furniture. "Dad, look." Lily called from the backyard. "There's a batting cage." Sure enough, a professional-grade batting cage had been installed, complete with pitching machine. Attached was a note, "For our future softball star, TT." Tyler felt overwhelmed by the gesture. It was too much, too generous, and he felt suddenly uncomfortable with accepting such kindness from a virtual stranger, even if she was now his employer. That evening, as Lily explored her new bedroom, decorating it with her modest collection of belongings, there was a knock at the cottage door. Tessa stood on the porch, holding a basket. "Housewarming gift," she explained, handing him the basket filled with local artisan foods and a bottle of wine. "I wanted to see how you're settling in." "It's incredible," Tyler admitted, inviting her inside, "but honestly it feels like too much." The batting cage, the furniture, I wasn't expecting all this. Tessa waved away his concerns. "The cottage needed updating anyway, and the batting cage is a selfish investment. I played softball in college, was hoping Lily might let me practice with her sometimes." "You played softball?" Lily appeared in the hallway, eyes wide with excitement. "Third base and shortstop," Tessa confirmed with a smile. 4 years at Stanford. Dad, can we practice now, please?" Tyler glanced at his watch. It was getting late, but Tessa's eagerness matched Lily's, and he couldn't bring himself to say no to either of them. The next hour was filled with laughter as Tessa demonstrated proper stance and swing techniques. Tyler watched from the sidelines, struck by how naturally Tessa interacted with Lily, and by how his daughter blossomed under the attention of this accomplished woman. Later, after Lily had gone to bed, Tyler and Tessa sat on the cottage's small porch, sharing the wine she'd brought. "Thank you," Tyler said quietly, "for all of this, for giving us this chance." Tessa looked out at the darkened grounds, her profile elegant in the porch light. "I should be thanking you. This estate has been in my family for generations, but I've rarely spent time here. It never felt like home." She turned to look at him. "Watching you and Lily today, it reminded me what homes are supposed to feel like." Over the following weeks, Tyler threw himself into his new role. The estate was larger than he'd initially realized, with multiple outbuildings that required attention, extensive gardens, and a small orchard. He created a systematic plan for repairs and maintenance, impressing Tessa with his organization and work ethic. Lily thrived in their new environment. The local school was better than her previous one, and having a stable home with a yard and the batting cage helped her softball skills improve dramatically. She made the school team with ease and beamed with pride when both Tyler and Tessa attended her first game. Tessa, who typically split her time between the estate and her company headquarters in the city 2 hours away, began spending more time at the mansion. She often invited Tyler and Lily for dinner, and sometimes joined them at the cottage for more casual meals that Tyler prepared. Despite her wealth and status, she seemed to prefer their simple spaghetti dinners to formal dining in the mansion. One evening in late spring, about 3 months after they'd moved in, Tyler was repairing one of the estate's stone walls when Tessa approached. She was dressed casually in jeans and a simple blouse, her hair loose around her shoulders, a stark contrast to the polished businesswoman he'd first met. "You work too hard," she observed, handing him a cold drink. Tyler accepted it gratefully. "I enjoy it. There's something satisfying about fixing things." "Is that what drew you to construction?" she asked, leaning against the undamaged portion of the wall. "Partly. My dad was a carpenter. He taught me to build things when I was about Lily's age." Tyler took a long sip of his drink. "But honestly, I fell into construction because it paid the bills. What I really wanted was to design buildings, not just build them." Tessa looked surprised. "You wanted to be an architect?" Tyler nodded, feeling slightly embarrassed. "I took night classes for a while, but then Sarah got sick, and after she passed, there was never enough time or money to go back." "You should go back," Tessa said immediately. "If that's still your dream," Tyler laughed softly. "Maybe someday. Right now, Lily's my priority." "They're not mutually exclusive, you know," Tessa said. "Dreams and parenthood." The conversation lingered in Tyler's mind that night as he lay awake, staring at the cottage ceiling. Tessa's words had awakened something he'd long suppressed, the ambition he'd set aside during the years of struggle. But what struck him more was the way she'd looked at him as she'd spoken, with a warmth that had nothing to do with employer and employee. The next morning, Tyler found a package on the cottage doorstep. Inside was a set of professional architectural drafting tools and a note in Tessa's elegant handwriting, "For when you're ready to start designing again." The gesture left him speechless. It wasn't the monetary value of the gift, but the thoughtfulness, the fact that she'd listened and understood a dream he'd barely acknowledged to himself anymore. When he tried to thank her later that day, she brushed it off. "Consider it an investment. Maybe you'll design my next building." Their relationship shifted subtly after that. Tessa began consulting him about renovation plans for the mansion's east wing. They spent evenings poring over blueprints at her dining table, their heads bent close together. Sometimes their hands would touch as they reached for the same document, and Tyler couldn't help noticing how those brief contacts sent electricity through him. "You have good instincts," Tessa told him one night after they'd finalized plans for a solarium addition. "You should really consider formal training. I know the dean of architecture at State University." "Are you trying to get rid of me?" Tyler joked, though part of him wondered if she was politely encouraging him to move on. Tessa looked startled. "God, no, that's the last thing I want." The intensity in her voice made him look up sharply. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, neither spoke. The spell was broken when Lily burst in, excited about an on-her science project. Tessa immediately turned her attention to the 12-year-old's accomplishment, but Tyler couldn't shake the feeling that something important had almost happened. Summer arrived, bringing with it a heat wave that made outdoor work challenging. Tyler adjusted his schedule, starting before dawn and finishing by early afternoon when temperatures peaked. One particularly sweltering day, he was repairing irrigation lines in the garden when Tessa appeared, carrying 2 popsicles. "Lily said these are your favorite," she explained, handing him one. "She's in the mansion's pool with Angela." Angela was Tessa's housekeeper, who had taken a grandmotherly interest in Lily. Tyler nodded his thanks, acutely aware that he was shirtless and sweaty from work. "Sorry about the state of me," he said, feeling self-conscious under Tessa's gaze. "Don't apologize," she said softly, her eyes lingering on his chest before she seemed to catch herself and looked away. "Actually, I came to invite you both to a 4th of July party I'm hosting." "Just a small gathering, some colleagues, friends." Lily already said yes. Tyler raised an eyebrow. "You asked my daughter before asking me," Tessa grinned. "I knew she'd be the harder sell. She had to verify that there would be other kids her age before agreeing." "Well, if Lily's in, how can I refuse?" Tyler smiled. "Though I'm not sure I have anything appropriate to wear to a billionaire's party." "Just be yourself, Tyler," Tessa said, her expression suddenly serious. "That's all I ever want from you." The words hung between them, weighted with meaning Tyler wasn't sure he was reading correctly. Before he could respond, Tessa's phone rang, an important business call she had to take. She hurried back toward the mansion, leaving Tyler with his melting popsicle and confused thoughts. The 4th of July party was indeed small by Billionaire standards, only about 30 guests, but undeniably elegant. The mansion's terrace was decorated with tasteful patriotic touches. A string quartet played in the corner, and catering staff circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Tyler felt out of place despite his new button-down shirt and slacks, purchased specifically for the occasion. Lily, however, had immediately found the other children and was happily engaged in a supervised water balloon battle on the lawn. "You look like you're contemplating escape," Tessa said, appearing beside him. She wore a simple blue sundress that made her eyes seem even more vivid, her hair loose around her shoulders. "Just feeling a bit out of my depth," Tyler admitted. "I'm more comfortable fixing windows than making small talk with tech executives." Tessa smiled, slipping her arm through his in a gesture that felt both casual and intimate. "Come on, I'll introduce you to people who are much less intimidating." She led him through the crowd, introducing him not as her property manager but as the talented Tyler Matthews, who's helping redesign parts of the estate. The description both flattered and confused him. Was that how she saw him now? As the evening progressed and twilight fell, Tyler found himself relaxing. Tessa's friends were mostly down to earth, and several expressed genuine interest in his nascent architectural ideas. When fireworks began over the lake that bordered the property, guests gathered at the edge of the terrace for the view. In the darkness, Tessa's hand found Tyler's. He looked down at her, a question in his eyes. "I've been wanting to do this for weeks," she whispered, and then she was kissing him, her lips soft against his as colorful explosions lit the sky above them. When they broke apart, Tyler's heart was racing. "Tessa, if you're about to remind me that I'm your employer, don't," she said. "I've been trying to figure out how to tell you that I'm falling for you, Tyler Matthews." "This is complicated," he said, though his hand tightened around hers. "There's Lily to consider and the job, and we'll figure it all out," she promised, "if you feel the same way." He looked at her in the flickering light from the fireworks. "I do, I have for months." Later that night, after the guests had departed and Lily was fast asleep in one of the mansion's guest rooms, Tyler and Tessa sat on the terrace talking until dawn. They shared stories, fears, and dreams, navigating the complexities of their situation with honesty. "I've been alone for a long time," Tessa confessed. "Building my company was easier than building relationships. But watching you with Lily, seeing how you always put her first, how you rebuilt your life after losing your wife, it made me want to be part of something real." "We're pretty real," Tyler said, smiling. "Sometimes too real. School projects, softball practice, broken windows." "That's exactly what I want," Tessa insisted. "The everyday moments that matter." They agreed to take things slowly, particularly where Lily was concerned. Tyler would continue as property manager. His work was excellent, and the living arrangement was ideal for Lily's stability, but they would be open about their developing relationship. To Tyler's relief, when they carefully broached the subject with Lily a few days later, her reaction was positive. "I already knew," she declared with the confidence of a preteen. "You guys look at each other like people in movies, and you're okay with it," Tyler asked cautiously. Lily considered this. "Tessa makes you happy, Dad, and she helped me fix my swing." In Lily's world, these were equally important qualifications. "Just don't get all mushy in public, okay?" The months that followed were some of the happiest of Tyler's life. His relationship with Tessa deepened, rooted in mutual respect and genuine affection. With her encouragement, he enrolled in online architectural courses, working on his studies in the evenings after his property management duties were complete. By the time autumn painted the estate in golds and reds, they had fallen into a comfortable rhythm. Many evenings found them at the cottage, where Tyler cooked dinner while Tessa helped Lily with homework. Weekends often included excursions, baseball games, museums, or simple hikes through the estate's extensive woodlands. One crisp October evening, they were walking back from the lake, Lily running ahead to chase falling leaves, when Tessa stopped and turned to Tyler. "Move into the mansion," she said suddenly. "You and Lily, the cottage could become your office space." Tyler hesitated. "Tess, that's a big step." "We practically live together already," she pointed out. "You spend most nights at the mansion, and Lily has claimed the blue bedroom as her own." It was true. Their lives had become deeply intertwined over the past months. Yet Tyler still felt occasional twinges of insecurity about the disparity in their financial situations. "I don't want people to think I'm with you for your money or the lifestyle," he admitted, "and I don't want Lily growing up with unrealistic expectations." Tessa took his hands. "Tyler, no one who sees us together would ever think that, and Lily has your values. She's grounded and hardworking no matter where she lives." She squeezed his hands. "But if you're not ready, I understand." Tyler looked at her, this remarkable woman who had come into their lives because of a broken window and a moment of honesty, and realized he was overthinking things. "Let me talk to Lily first," he said. "But yes, I'd like that." Lily, as it turned out, was entirely in favor of the move. "My bathroom would be bigger than our whole apartment was," she pointed out practically. "And Angela said I could help with the holiday decorations." The move happened gradually, with personal items migrating from cottage to mansion, until by Thanksgiving, They were fully installed in their new living arrangement. The holiday itself was a joyful affair, with Tessa's brother and his family joining them, along with a few close friends. As they sat around the dining table, Tyler looked at the faces illuminated by candlelight. Lily animated as she discussed softball strategies with Tessa's nephew, Tessa deep in conversation with her sister-in-law, the blend of people who had become their extended family and felt a profound sense of gratitude. Later that evening, after the guests had departed and Lily had gone to bed, Tessa led Tyler to her study. "I have something for you," she said, handing him a large envelope. Inside, Tyler found admission papers to the prestigious architectural program at State University, along with a letter granting him a full scholarship. "How did you?" he began, stunned. "I didn't pull any strings, if that's what you're wondering," Tessa assured him quickly. "I mentioned your situation to the dean, yes, but he reviewed your portfolio himself. The scholarship is based entirely on merit." Tyler could hardly believe it. The program was part-time, designed for working professionals, meaning he could continue managing the estate while pursuing his degree. "Thank you," he said, pulling her into his arms, "for believing in me." "Always," she whispered against his chest. That night, as they lay together in the master bedroom that had become theirs, Tyler marveled at how drastically his life had changed in less than a year. From struggling to pay rent and juggling multiple jobs to finding not just financial stability but love and a renewed sense of purpose. "What are you thinking about?" Tessa asked, curling against him. "About broken windows and second chances," he said, kissing her forehead. "And how sometimes the things that seem like disasters turn out to be blessings." As winter settled over the estate, transforming it into a snow-covered wonderland, Tyler worked with a local jeweler to design a ring. It wasn't as elaborate as Tessa could afford, but it was thoughtful, incorporating elements that symbolized their unusual beginning and the life they'd built together. On Christmas morning, after presents had been opened and Lily was absorbed in a new book, Tyler led Tessa to the repaired window of the cottage that now served as his design studio. "This is where everything changed," he said, taking the small box from his pocket. "Where one moment of honesty led to everything I never knew I needed." Tessa's eyes widened as he dropped to one knee. "I'm not offering wealth or status," he said softly. "Just my heart, my hands, and my promise to build something beautiful with you every day for the rest of our lives." "Will you marry me?" "Yes," she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks as he slipped the ring onto her finger. 1,000 times yes. Lily found them there moments later, still embracing by the window that had once been broken. "Finally," she exclaimed, running to join their hug. "Does this mean I can be the flower girl?" They laughed, holding her between them, a family created from unexpected circumstances and cemented by love that had grown stronger with each repaired break, each honest conversation, each shared dream. In the spring, they would marry in the gardens of the estate. In the summer, Tyler would begin his architectural program. Life would continue to evolve and present new challenges. But they would face them together: the struggling dad, who'd once fixed a broken window, the billionaire who'd recognized the value of integrity over wealth, and the daughter who'd brought them together with a powerful swing and a baseball that had shattered more than just glass. For now, they stood in the winter light streaming through the repaired window. Three people who had found home in each other's hearts, proof that sometimes the most remarkable love stories begin with broken things being made whole again.